Hello everyone, today's poem is Xiaoya, Mian River, a Xiaoya poem from the Book of Songs. Today is June 29th, 2020, the last day I'm with the quarantine hotel in Zhuhai city because I crossed the border between Hong Kong and Zhuhai, so I need 2 weeks lockdown quarantine in a dedicated hotel. I have 3 tests of COVID-19 and it looks like nothing happened. So no news is the best news, and I should be set free tomorrow morning, and I'm free to go anywhere across the China. So this is a place I stayed for 14 days in this hotel, and everything you needed, just order it online and it will be delivered to your on door by the hotel person, because the delivery person, they can only deliver your lunch, dinner, or anything you needed to the lobby, and then the hotel staff will take that lunch or dinner to your door. Your door actually was sealed with a paper strip, so that's to ensure you never go beyond this door. So actually I never went out of the store for the 14 days. Okay, let's get back to the poem now. The title, Mian River, was originally interpreted as a river full of water. The water in the river is so abundant. But actually, this explanation or this meaning is only dedicated for the poem of this poem. So that actually aroused a huge question for me. Why should you give a new meaning just because of this poem? So the normal meaning for this character Mian is a river's name. It's a quite famous river, but we don't call it Mian River today. We call it Han Shui. So we Chinese call ourselves as 我们是汉族人, and we call the language as 汉语. The Chinese we call it as 汉语. So you know how important this term it is, Han. So another possible meaning for this character is if you treat it as a long word. So this word mian means something under the surface of water. So normally that was used in the Zhou dynasty as a warning to someone. Don't hide down the surface of the wines, which means you should never drink too much wines. 沉湎, so that means it's down below the surface of the water. So basically, I don't agree with the original or traditional explanation by the Han scholars, which means that water is so abundant, because from the sentence pattern we can tell it's not that way. The first sentence, 沔彼流水, so the term 彼 is just like that one. So it put you in a real situation with some of the real things. Look at that river. Or Mian River is that river over there. The character B actually tells us very clearly that the poet, when he's writing this poem, he was facing some of the very, very real things over there. The Mian River is over there. So with this explanation, Mian Shui refers to the river, Han River or Mian River in the Zhou dynasty. It tells very clearly this poem was written by a lord or a noble person with the royal blood, and his state was along the Han River, somewhere along the Han River, and this is compliance to the history book and to the modern archaeologists. There is a bunch of medium to small states with the lord from the Zhou people, and they are so-called 汉水诸姬. Ji is the family name of the Zhou people. So this is a background we should know. Okay, let's go to the poem now. 沔彼流水, 朝宗于海. Mian River is the river over there. It runs to all its ways and finally goes to the open sea. 朝宗于海. Zong, before this poem, is a very special and delicate term which refers the laws of the state. They should pay a visit to the king of Zhou in the autumn's time. So that activity was so called as Zong. The poet geniusly borrowed this idea, this concept, or make a comparison between that activity, the state's lord pay the regular visit to the king of Zhou, to the behavior of the river or branch rivers. The branch rivers, they all go to the main rivers, and finally all the rivers runs to the open sea. So here he paralleled two things. The king is just like the open sea, and all the small branches is the states crossing the country. And all these states, finally, they went to the king of Zhou, and that's how the Zhou dynasty, the country of Zhou, was made of. So this is a very genius comparison, and this comparison starts from this poem, 朝宗于海. Also, with this comparison, the poet geniusly revealed who he was. I'm a person along the Han River, in one of the states along the Han River, and I'm with the blood of the Zhou people. I share the same blood with the royal family. So it's quite genius writing. Okay, the next sentence. 鴗彼飞隼, 载飞载止. I'm driving my hunting eagles, and my hunting eagles is sometimes fly up and sometimes it stops somewhere. So normally the 鴗was interpreted as the status of the eagle flying, but I share a different will. So it's very likely to be a loan word of 鴗, which means I drive my horse, I drive my house, I drive my cars. And here is a very popular behavior in the ancient China, and today it's still in the some of the Central Asia countries, they still have these activities, the hunting eagles. So from the first two pair of sentences, we know very clearly this poem is talking something about a state along the Han River, and the poet is with the blood of the Zhou royal family, and he was going out maybe for a hunting. So he was flying his hunting eagles. The eagles fly up and low. So basically that's the first two pair of sentence. Okay, the next sentence. 嗟我兄弟, 邦人诸友. I signed about my brothers. I signed about my people in the States and all my friends. So it looks like the poet doesn't feel good, so he signs. And be careful with the term 兄弟. 兄弟 means brothers, but in the concept of Zhou dynasty, it very probably refers to all the other people who shared the same blood, and they are with the same positions, normally the state lords, the high-ranking officers within the states. So basically, they are the co-political power or the co-structure of that society. And 邦人 means the people within the states. So that's could be the people under him. So if we take the poet as the lord of this small state, so he signed about all the other peoples of the Zhou states, because they should support each other per the code of conduct of the Zhou dynasty, and that's the core value, or one of the core value of the Zhou people. You should do your best to support your brothers. So the brothers not is the brothers within the small family. So the whole country across the Zhou country, the people shared the same blood, same family names. They could be treated each other as brothers. So if one state has some of the troubles, the other states, as well as the king of Zhou, they has the duty. They must to assist the troubled states per the code of conduct of the Zhou. So here, if we look back again, this sentence, 接我兄弟，邦人诸友. So I sent on my brothers, I sent on the people in my states and all my friends. So the friends is more relevant, could be the other states. They are not the states by the Zhou blood, by the Zhou family. They could be by other names. So that's quite normal in the Zhou dynasty. But they may have the marriage relationship. So that's also could be treated as a very strong relationship, and they have the duty to support each other. So this sentence basically means he signed on everybody in the Zhou country, including those people, the noble people, the lord of states who share the same blood with him. They are the Zhou people. And also the citizens, the peoples in his own state, and also the relatives of the states with marriage with his states. So everybody actually. 莫肯念乱，谁无父母? So the previous sentence, the poet sang about people, all the people in the Zhou country. Why he sang? Because those people, nobody come to his state to help him. And 谁无父母? Who doesn't have father and mother? So this I do believe is emphasize that to tell them from the father side, so we share the same name, where we share the Zhou royal family's name and blood. We should assist each other. And from the mother side, so this is from the marriage, they don't share the same name, same blood, but they still have a very, very strong relationship, and they share the duty to support each other. So the two pair of sentences in the first paragraph basically tell us there's some troubles happened in this state, and the poet worries so much, and he's also signed nobody in the vast land of the Zhou country, they come here to help me. And he just shouted, we have father, I have father, you have father, we share the same name. I have mother, you have mother, we have the relationship by marriage. Why you never come to help me, to support me? So basically that's the first paragraph about. And from the writing part, we can see this poem is quite typical poems in the Book of Songs, 3 paragraphs. But each paragraph becomes much more complicated. So the first 2 pair of sentences basically is the writing technique. Xing writes something of the scenic whales around. But this poem have 2 pair of sentences that as Xing, and it also actually the things it depicted actually is quite related to the things he was about to writing or to poet himself. The first sentence tells where I am, and I'm thinking about the big family of the Zhou dynasty. We all have shared the same name, we all share the same blood, and we have the same ancestors. And then the second is telling the poet himself. He was go out somewhere to fly his hunting eagles. So this is quite easy to arouse the feeling, something about war, the hunting eagle. The hunting eagle may also imply something about the troubles of his states in the 3rd and 4th pair of sentences in the first paragraph. That's the main body of the poem normally, and he just make it straightforward. He said, I'm sighing on my brothers, I sigh on my people in my states and my friends, and nobody come to assist me. So in the first paragraph, basically we get quite a lot of information that the poet was trying to tell us. So basically the first paragraph actually tells everything already, but as a human we have feelings, have emotions. The feeling and the emotions last. So let's see the second paragraph. Basically, the emotional or feelings continued from the first paragraph. 沔彼流水，其流汤汤。Mian River is the river over there, and the river is so abundant with water rushing to the downstreams. 其流汤汤, Shang is describing the river as abundant and is big. 鴟彼飞隼，载飞载扬. So I'm flying my hunting eagles. It flies up and it flies long. So this is also the story continues. 念彼不迹，载起载行. So for now, that I lost track on that things. So I start up and I'm going my ways. So what is be referred here? So my guess is the hunting eagle, the 飞隼. The bird is 隼, is a type of eagle. So he was flying the eagles, and at the moment the eagle fly far away, and he lost the track of that eagle. The poet most likely is on a chariot or on his horses, so he start to run and try to find his hunting eagles. 心之忧矣，不可弭忘. So I'm so worried within my heart, and that things could never be forgot. 迷忘 means never forgot. 迷 means remove or released of. So this pair of sentences tell us the poet was in such a weariness, and he would never get released from the weariness. He would never forgot that weariness. So what is that weariness exactly? Actually, we have no idea. And also this is a double referring. The main subject of this poem is the weariness about the troubles mentioned in the first paragraph. He has some troubles and nobody come over to help him out, to assist him to overcome the trouble. Nobody. And that's the things the first paragraph tells us. And in the second paragraph, the reality, there is some troubles in the reality as well, because he's driving his hunting eagles, he's flying his hunting eagles. The eagle was lost his track. He had to find out his hunting eagles. So he just run his horses, try to trace down the lost eagles. So this is also a weariness. So the genius of writings is it use a lot of the real things to simulate or to parallel to some of the virtual feelings, because the first weariness in the first paragraph is something virtual. It's not very likely could be linked as a real or physical things, but a lost hunting eagle is quite real, and he used this reality to re-emphasize or simulate the weariness described in the first paragraph. So it's quite talented writing. Okay, the third paragraph. For now, we know there's two subjects in this poem. One is the worry about the states, very likely, and nobody come over to help this poet to overcome the trouble. And the second subject is the hunting eagles. That's the reality. That's the things the poet was doing. He was flying his hunting eagles, and the eagle was lost. So that also brings some of the weariness, and the two weariness was paralleled, and they also reconfirm each other and make that weariness more real and more vividly. And let's see how the third paragraph continues. 鬻彼飞隼，率彼中陵. So I'm flying my hunting eagles. So I try to trace down along the middle mountains. So 鬻彼飞隼, we have explained. I'm flying my hunting eagles. 率 means to track, to accord something, to go accord something. So in the second paragraph, he started to run on a horses or maybe on a chariot. And here it tells very clearly, I'm on the mountain, on a 中陵. Ling is mountain, is same things. But in the modern language, Ling means the tomb for the emperor. That's a very delicate term, tomb for the emperor. And in the ancient China, the shan is the same thing as Ling, but Ling normally means very, very big mountains. So here, 中陵 could be a very delicate name for a delicate mountain, or could be some of the very relevant terms, those mid-high mountains. So it's hard to tell. Actually, we may not find the real situation anymore. Anyhow, I don't think it's a big deal. So let's review this sentence again. I'm flying my hunting eagles, and I try to trace down my eagles, and I run along those middle height mountains. In the third paragraph, the structure changed a little bit. The writing technique of Xing in the first two paragraphs, it caused two pair of sentences, but in the third paragraph, it only used one pair of sentence as Xing, the hunting eagles. It didn't mention the Mian River anymore. I don't know why, but if we put back the river in the third paragraph, I think it's still quite good. Just like, let me give you an example. 沔彼流水，其流汤汤，贗彼飞隼，率彼中陵. So it's okay. But I don't know why the poet changed that. But maybe it just try to give you some of the change on writings and also give you some of the uncertainty, some turbulence from the structures of this poem. It's hard to tell. Okay, let's continue. 民之讹言，宁莫之惩. So there is fake news among the people. So this actually refers to the states where he lived. There's fake news among the people, and why should not we just stop that fake news? 讹言, the fake news, and 宁莫之惩, 惩 means to stop. 惩 is not to punish. In modern Chinese, it means punish, and here it means stop. So, why shouldn't us stop the fake news? So far, you can feel how hopeless the poet it is. There's some trouble happened in his states. Nobody come to help, and furthermore, so many fake news was spreading among the peoples, but nobody come out try to stop the fake news. And in today's world, we know how much damage the fake news it is. It maybe changed the country totally. It could change the life of a country totally just by fake news. So that is why this poet was so worried. So maybe there's wars with other states. That's a very, very bad thing. People would die, and maybe his own state would be defeated. But that was not such bad as fake news. The fake news is worse than even most of the bad things we can thought about. Okay, the last pair of sentences. 我友敬矣，谗言其兴. All my friends, please take the caution. Please be careful. The fake news would spread out everywhere. 敬 is a long word of 敬. It means please take your caution, please take care. And 谗言, fake news. 其 means is about, is going to, when it was put in front of a verb. So after 其 is 兴. 兴 is mean something developed in a big scale, and boom, sort of something boomed. And here it just means the fake news will be spread out everywhere. Okay, let's review the whole poem together. This poem is with very typical structure, 3 paragraphs, but each paragraph became more complex. So this very likely is written in the mid-West Zhou dynasty till the late West Zhou dynasty. After 200 years of the development, the literature and the civilization all developed a lot. That was reflected on the writing of the poems. The poems became more complicated, not the structure as well as the content and the writing techniques. And this poem actually very geniusly embedded two subjects in such a short poem. One is some of the troubles, and we don't know what trouble it is, but it needs some of the real efforts to solve that, because he said nobody under the Zhou country come to help me to solve these problems. So this is the first problem. And the second subject is the flying hunting eagles. This is the thing the poet was doing, and he geniusly paralleled the two things together, because not for long he lost track of his hunting eagles. So this is a small trouble for him as well. So he geniusly paralleled these two troubles together. One trouble is not clear, is unknown, but it's a big deal. It's about the state, or maybe about the country of Zhou dynasty. We don't know. And another is a small trouble. His flying eagle was lost, but it's quite real. And in the third paragraph, he just mentioned a little bit of his lost eagles. He's still in his effort try to trace down his lost eagles, and we don't know the result. We know he's doing something, try to find out his eagles. And then it changed back to the mainstream, to the main subject, the troubles with the states. Anyhow, he mentioned nothing about that trouble. He changed totally to a third subject, the fake news, 谗言. And so the fake news is much even worse trouble compared the previous two troubles. The year 2020 is a year of trouble. A lot of the people has experienced big troubles, small troubles. And of course, we also experienced a lot of trouble because of fake news as well. So this is our current status and situations is a very, very good reference to this poem as well. So this poem describes something 3,000 years before, or precisely maybe 2,800 years before. There's something happened in a small state along the Han River, and finally this poet, very likely the lord of this small state, he concluded the fake news is the worst thing compared to those troubles which was happening or happened. Okay, one more last thing in the last pair of sentences. 我友敬矣，谗言其兴. 谗言 is not precisely is not fake news. It has something about fake news, but basically it means the slandering words, or speak some of the bad words to others. So it actually described the situation became much worse. First thing first, some rumors show up, fake news show up, and then the people, between the friends, between relatives, they try to do something more worse. They speak bad words toward each other and try to make troubles between two other parties. So basically, this is a point about, and also we can feel the Zhou society has changed a lot. The very early stage poems in the Book of Songs, they are all about family values, some happy things, about entertainments, drinkings, dinners. It's all of very positive and very happy atmosphere. And now we are more and more to see some of the bad things. The wars, very hard wars with other people, with other states, and even something we don't know is we know it's trouble, and we can feel the feelings, the mood from the poem is very negative. It's very uncertainty. It's very troubled in turbulence. Okay, that's for today. 沔彼流水，朝宗于海. That's very, very positive and encouraging. And that was used to contrast the negative mood in the whole poem. Bye-bye for today.